Stand up, children. Welcome to another episode. You may now sit down, take out your notes, and write. And note everything I will be speaking today, because it's an important, very important topic that I like to present, and I expect full obedience of you, and that you will take all this knowledge to yourself without questioning this at all. I say, so I made my research, I have come to the conclusions, now you will have to learn this. You have to put this in your mind, and you will turn this back. Next week, I will be asking you questions. If you understood the topic, if you get all the knowledge and didn't question a single thing. So what's the topic of today's episode? Well, we'll be talking about authorities, hierarchy, how it's come that we treat this as natural, as almost something it's normal in our culture, in our societies, that there always must be some kind of the authority that will tell us everything we need to know, what we have to do, should we obey, how should we behave. It's intensified in schools because it's a strong programming. You learn this, start learning these patterns of authority, obedience earlier in your life, as I briefly mentioned in the previous episodes. But right now in the school, it's magnified to highest possible level. Basically, all you have to do, you go into school and the teacher is your single source of truth. You don't question, take everything the teacher has to say and treat it as the best, most objective knowledge that is possible in the current given times. You don't ever question that he may be wrong. You don't question that he may be out of scope. Maybe they are already not following the newest trends, or they are just trying to, put their point of view into you without you ever questioning this knowledge they're trying to transfer into you. They expect you to respect them just because they are your teacher. So students have to respect their teachers, regardless of who the teacher are. Doesn't matter if the teacher is maybe bad at teaching or is really a scumbag in a real life. That he can go and, bully and mock other children, make fun of them. Doesn't matter. You still have to respect. Their information is indisputable. You cannot even try to argue with them, even if you may possess some kind of the knowledge. You are just younger. You don't know. You don't understand. Your words doesn't matter. That's what you learn in the school. That's what you learn, that your voice never mattered. That you cannot question the authority. You have to obey, and the action is indisputable. Why should I even respect the person that is treating me badly? That is, have no respect for me. Respect should be mutual. I can have a respect for someone when I don't know that person. But once I get to know this person, then the respect should be earned, not be given as something natural just because someone is, higher in a hierarchy than me. Just because someone is older, I should have a respect from them. Just because someone is on a higher position in a company than me, I should give them respect. They treat you so that you cannot even do and decide for yourself for simple stuff. In Poland, you cannot even go to a toilet, make your what you have to make there, and go back into classroom without first asking permission to go and do this. The teacher has to grant you permission for this. Imagine the situation. It should be something natural, and yet we feel like ashamed of this. But that's what they do. Some of the teachers move further, so they treat that like their knowledge that they have learned, let's say 20, 30 years ago, in their specialization, has been not updated by them. They didn't update to the newest standard and try to teach you some bullshit that is already debunked, that is already not true. They don't give a fuck about you, about giving you a real truth. It's most common in scientific knowledge or the areas of science that is rapidly developing. Take, I don't know, computer informatics, for example, or even probably biology or chemistry is moving forward really fast in today's world thanks to all the technology revolution. But now, some of them were not the sharpest tool in the shed, but still, they are the teacher. So as you are below them in hierarchy, you have to obey whatever they say. They can even go and tell you how you should feel about particular topic or person. High school history teacher was not really fond of the king Stanisław Poniatowski. She found him as a childish, naive person that should never be a king and rule, and his decisions were always poor because he was influenced by others. She always called him by some kind of the slurs, a small stash. He was just a child. She didn't give me a chance to make my own opinion about the actions he performed. No, she already came up with the statement that he was a bad ruler. It was indisputable. You couldn't argue with her that maybe, yeah, from my point of view, maybe he didn't have that information and made up his mind without full range of knowledge, about understanding all the situations, but he still managed to do something good. No, he was bad. On the other, we had some kind of the interpretation of the historical essays. There were some historic situations that we were to interpret, but there should be only one proper interpretation. You cannot go on and think for yourself, try to analyze this from the point of view, maybe take some other parts. No, you had to fill in what the teacher expected you to understand from this given essay. Same, it was on our, let's say, lesson with literature. You were reading books, we were reading some kind of poems. You think I was able to tell and share my interpretation of the given piece of art from the poem? No way. We had to go how the authorities expects us to think. They put the knowledge and how we should interpret the given art, regardless how we feel about this. Maybe they don't even give you explanation why. Sometimes just because that is this. Just because. Because I say so. Because that's what the, let's say, our experts in the field told us. They studied this and presented their knowledge, and now I share you this. No even some kind of verification, explanation, some kind of points that I could maybe check for myself and argue with this. Maybe, I don't know, put some historical context, put some evidences that this interpretation is more plausible than the one I have in my own mind. No, never. You have just to listen obtusely to authorities. You have to be almost like a soldier. Sir, yes, sir. And you go. Just blindly following the orders. See, about the orders, we can go on and study the Milgram experiment. So he wanted to test the obedience to authorities. His thesis was that Americans would not go as far as the Germans during the Nazi period in the Second World War. Okay, so how does this experiment was performed? So there were 3 individuals taking part in each session of the experiment. The expert, who was in charge of the session and managing the teacher. The teacher, which was actually our real person we were experimenting on, who was just a volunteer for a single given session. The teachers were led to believe that they were just merely assisting, whereas they were actually the subject of the experiment. And the learner, he was an actor and confederate of the expert. In one room, we have our expert and the teacher being the person that is the subject of the experiment, and in the other room was the learner. So the expert told them that they will be taking part in a scientific study of memory learning to see what the effect of the punishment is on a subject's ability to memorize the content. Then they went to a different room, learner in one room, and expert with our teacher in the second room. Before the start of the session, the teacher received a simple voltage punishment, about 45 volts, to be able to recognize how painful such a voltage can be. Then they started the session of memorizing and repeating the memorized pair of words. The teacher was just giving pair of words, and the learner had to give them back sometime later. If the learner failed to do this, to return all the words, the teacher was supposed to punish him with some kind of electrocution, starting with 15 volts and with each failure increasing the voltage by 15 up to 450 volts. The teacher could stop at any particular stage. He was never told that he has to go all the way out or no. He will get paid just even if he sits there just by being present there. So, in case our teacher was hesitating to push the button, our expert, sitting in a room with him, was about to say like 4 sentences to encourage him to continue the session. He was like, please continue, please go on. The experiment requires you to continue. It is absolutely essential. Stuff like this, up to 4 sentences. After each of this punishment, the teacher could hear the learners, screaming voices or begging to stop this session, stop this experiment that he is no longer willing to do. And 80% of people reached the point of 300 volts of electrocution being put on our learner. The learner was already begging to let him out, let him go, that he doesn't wanna continue this anymore. 80% stopped at that point, but 65% of people went to whole end, to the end, to 450 volts, which should be a deadly measure of electrocution for a person. 65% were willing to go all the way out. They were not questioning it a little bit. I'm just doing what is required. I'm just following orders. They thought that the responsibility will never be on their side. Imagine how this is the blind obedience. And this blind obedience doesn't come from nowhere. It's being taught and passed down in schools that you have to be an obedient person. You have to obey the authorities, someone that is above you. In this case, in the Milgram experiment, it was an expert, someone who created this experiment. You, as a subject, were permitted to stop anytime you want, on any scale you want. You could even argue that you could stop even before the first punishment. But 65% of people went to the end. And do you think that this is different? That Milgram never go on and compare the statistics with Germans. He was devastated about the results from the American studies. 65% would go on and do what they are told by our authority or government. Doesn't matter. If government tell them to kill some people because they are bad, 65% of those people would do and execute those orders. The blind obedience. I'm just following my orders, sir. I'm just doing my part. If you don't disagree, you can go and blame others. See, the same experiment was repeated in Poland in 2017 with 40 women and 40 men. The scale was a little bit changed because they decided that we don't need such granular scale, so they reduced a few points, but still 90% in Poland, 90% went all the way till the end of the scale for the punishment. 90% in Poland. And we think we are free. We are now in a free country. We are in a democratic country. Yeah, right. We are as obedient slaves as we ever was. 90% were willing to just do everything. You can see it everywhere. Just take the COVID situation we had a few years ago in Poland. You were not allowed to go into forest, parks. The police were just wandering around, giving you tickets for going on the fresh air. You couldn't go. They were just also, I was just following the orders of the government. I don't have to think for myself. I don't have to understand what am I doing, if this is right or wrong. No, I'm just following orders. Someone made me do this. The government made me do this, and I'm just doing my work because I'm a very good obedient slave. So I will do everything they tell me to. Marvelous. Marvelous. This was all done in school. About the not questioning the authorities or experts. During the COVID, let's continue with the COVID story. We had a virologist come in the first show, and he laughed at all this COVID, all this wearing a mask, keeping the distance, or that this is just some kind of the flu. We don't have to worry about this. Then, like a week or 2 weeks later, he came on a second show, and he turned 100-degree change. He was now pro that the masks are necessary, that we have to keep our distance. It is not a simple flu. We need to get vaccinated. So the same expert, just 1-2 week span. Who should I trust? Him from the first show or him from the second show? The same person, same expert. Now I have two contradicting statements. I was taught to be obedient. Now I guess I was free to not care about this for 1 or 2 weeks, and then I have to start actually worrying. The situation gets worse, right? It doesn't matter that maybe it was just a political move. You can't draw your own conclusions. You have to follow what the government says, what the media says, what the, I don't know, WHO says, the specialist experts. Doesn't matter. The degree is more important. Someone has a degree in something, he's already better than you. He already knows, and so he's an expert in that field, and you should always trust. Never question, never draw your own conclusion. Yeah, because it looks like we are just so dumb and clumsy that we cannot just take a research, scientific research, read it, understand it, draw conclusions ourselves. No, we need an expert to tell us how to interpret and read this research and what conclusions should we actually have. It's just a blind faith, the scienticism. It's just blindly following the experts and authorities. Yeah, you can always turn this to the other side. You can always turn to some kind of the faith, religion leaders and follow them. They are the authority. They tell you what to do, what not to do, how you should behave. If you are a good person, if you are a bad person, you don't know this. They tell you if you know this, if you are a good or bad person. Because for some reason you cannot draw conclusions from your own actions anymore. You have to have someone tell you what to do. Most people in Poland are Christian, but they don't even analyze or understand the rituals they are performing, where they come from, why they are doing this. They just blindly follow and believe in this because it's a tradition. Why such a tradition came into existence in the first place? How many people even try to understand that? I was fighting with my family about the religion and the topics and the rituals we had, that they are, some of them are stupid and are useless. They had their purpose back in the previous time, but right now they are pointless. Some of them are state of bullshit that has nothing to do with the faith they are believing in, with the God they are believing in. They just come from pagan traditions, and we incorporated them so the Christianity could spread into the world. Question everyone, authorities, learn and draw your own conclusions. Apply this knowledge to yourself, process it, and then come to take your wisdom. And this applies also to not trusting me. You should never trust me just because I say so. just because I am telling you in front of your computer and putting the video on YouTube that you should be trusting me. Go on, take. Be open-minded. Don't judge at first. Analyze if what I'm saying is actually true or not. Go on, verify it. Make your own research on this topic about the authorities, about the hierarchy. Then make up your mind and draw a conclusion. Don't blindly follow me or anyone else. That's just stupid. If you go on, then you do this counterproductive to what I try to tell you guys. No matter if this is this episode, previous episode, or future episodes. Don't trust me. Verify and know it for yourself. Understand and know if what I'm saying is true, or maybe I made a mistake. Then you can correct me. But if you just blindly believe me because I say so, and what? You're gonna try to then convince somebody else, well, the morality is objective because some guy on the internet in a short YouTube video told me that it is objective. How narrow thinking that is. This is what we get from schools. Narrow thinking and following someone because we like them, because they are authority. So now, because you like someone, you have to agree and trust whatever they say? No. This is same than happening in our daily life, in the corporate life. Most of us are probably working in some kind of a corporation. There is a hierarchy, authorities above you. So some people are getting the position because of their connection, not because of their skills. And they are above you. Whatever they say, you have to obey and you have to do. Doesn't matter if it's right, if it's the best solution for the given problem. They can be total idiots, but they have a position above you, so you have to listen to them. You have to do what they say, just because they are above you. Madness. Take even Japan as an example about the work culture there. It is inappropriate to, let's say, end your work before your superior. You can't go. If your superior decides to stay 5 hours overtime, you have to stay 5 hours overtime. And if the superior invites you to, let's say, going out for a drink, you now have to obey and go for that drink. Your own plans for the evening, your own plans for the night doesn't matter. They don't care. You have to be an obedient worker. Work is the most important for you. That's how fucked up we can become as a society, as a person. Does this person is independent, thinking for themselves? I highly doubt they are. Same when I was traveling in Japan, I asked in a ramen restaurant and asked them, how do you determine which restaurant is the best in town? Do you have some kind of the competition you perform, or there's some kind of, I don't know, expert that gives you stars and oh my god, this chef is so marvelous? No. What I learned that is all based on how many years are you in the business. So it doesn't matter if you are a genius. Maybe you create the best ramen in the world. You have natural talent for cooking, for culinary. But you are in this business for 2-3 years. So you are a novice. If someone is there for 15-20 years, they are already above you. They are higher in the hierarchy and they have better authority. People will consider they are better than you just because they are there longer in this business. Yeah. See? We treat that some other people that are experts, that authorities, they only have the words to say. That knowledge is not available to us, poor, normal humans. Do a research on our own and draw some kind of conclusion. That is impossible. We don't have access to knowledge. Yeah, the internet don't exist. And we cannot really find any information in this little box of communication. That was all for today. I hope you learned anything and you can draw your own conclusions in the future. Reject this authority programming and binding that we don't need it. It's not natural. It is artificially put into us. I'm Arek and you can see me and my materials at the tridentoffreedom.com. And till the next time, bye.